Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a little while.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
hey, Anna. Hey, Mike. Thanks for joining us tonight. And we're going to get this show kicked off, Captain, right away by talking about let's giving the Raiders their final report card and their final rankings. And let's talk about it. Let's go to defense first. Captain, your final grade on the defense for the season.
C. Like I said, middle of the road, improved at or was ascending to improve. They were really, really sketchy for the majority of the time, but they weren't great. They weren't horrible. They were a C.
Heidi,
You're very kind, Captain Jack.
he sure is. I think the pity vote is out there.
I'm gonna
because
I'm gonna
got
give them
my
a D.
son. Maybe that's the reason why. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna give them a D because they did win. They did allow us to win some games, sort of, and they managed to find the field most of the time. But nah, it was a pretty pathetic performance. Way too many comebacks. Way too many comebacks.
Way too many lost fourth quarter leads. I just wanted to go down to final rankings for the defense. Points allowed, 29th. Sacks, 30th. Interceptions, 31st. Turnovers, 32nd. Yards allowed, 28th. Passing yards allowed, 30th. Pass completions allowed, 27th. The best ranking that they had was passing touchdowns allowed, 19th, and that was a league-wide trend, by the way. We'll get to that. And also they did well in rushing yards allowed. But here we go. Red zone touchdowns allowed, 30th. First downs allowed, 29th. They just could not get people off the field. Rushing touchdowns allowed, 28th. I'm just going to have to give this Raider defense an F. No improvement over 2021. No improvement over 2020, although they did have different defensive coordinators. Now, I wanted to go straight to the offense, and we're going to get back to this, Captain.
Well, when you say it like that, it just sounds so much worse. Like
I don't know
it like
why.
that, it sounds so much worse.
I don't know why. I just wanted people to just, cogitate that for a moment. And we're going to go to a popular topic after we give the offense a grade. And then I'll run down their season stats. Captain, overall, 15 games of Carr, 2 with Stidham. Your final offensive grade for the season.
Well, obviously, because I'm giving the grades, right? I'm like the easy A, but they're not in. By the way, they're not getting an A.
No.
Offense, I would give a C minus.
Okay. Worse than the defense.
Yeah, actually worse than the defense in my scale.
Right.
Because when we needed to come through at the end, it was how many games, and I'm sure that Heidi probably has that right at the top of her head. How many games did we turn it over to Carr to make plays and to do things, and we had the last opportunity to do it, and it didn't get done. So, I mean, aside from, and I will throw out there, and I still am adamant about the fact that Stidham had Devontae Adams for a touchdown. I know Mike Sarah keeps telling me I'm full of crap, but Adams beat his coverage against the Niners. He beat the coverage, and then he was pushed into it, and he ducked the ball, and that was, the reason why we didn't win that game. But I'm still going to say the offense actually regressed from last year. C-.
That's very interesting. Heidi, your final grade on offense? And all of
Well,
you
I would
out
say-
there, we want to see your grade too on offense and defense.
I would say the offense did regress. I mean, the entire team regressed. It was a playoff team last year, and this year was not. I'm shocked, Edward Winchell, that you didn't give the offense an F with your favorite quarterback behind center. But I would give them a C. I would not give them worse than the defense, but I would say that they definitely regressed, and there were many games where they were a big part of the loss. It's just the defense gave up the points.
Right. And defense has been doing that. We've always counted on our offense to rescue us. And Captain, that's a theme that's been going on for a little while now. We've always counted on that offense to come back. I mean, why is Carr leading the league in fourth quarter and overtime comebacks? I mean, because it was required. There were very few situations where he didn't have to do things, heroics, to come back. Let's run down the offensive report card for this offense that did regress. Heidi, I'm with you 100%. Points scored, 11th. Total touchdowns, 11th. Plays run, 15th. Yards accumulated, 8th. Passing yards, 10th. Passing touchdowns, 8th. Rushing yards, this is the stat I want to talk about, 15th with the NFL's leading rusher. 15th. And that's probably, Captain, you might agree with me, because we didn't have those quarterback rushing yards to add to our total. Rushing touchdowns, 23rd, again with the NFL's leading rusher. Here's where our stats regress, Heidi. Interceptions, 29th. Red zone touchdowns, 26th. And that's not really a regression. That stayed the same as last year. Red zone touchdown percentage, 27th. This year, we were the 9th leading team in sacks allowed. And finally, total turnovers, we were 23rd. And I'm going to give the offense a C. They had a new coordinator, new set of playbooks, new set of everything. And I think they were productive, but not productive enough for the kind of defense that we had on the field. And I'm going to swing around now, Heidi, just talk about coaching. Your final grade on coaching.
Well, I mean, technically the Raiders did win some games, so.
All 6.
But I gotta give them an F.
Yeah.
They were horrible.
Captain, your grade on coaching.
Wow. I'm not that harsh. I'm going to give him a D. I'm going to give him a D because again, it's a first year coach that has to install his system. And and that's why I keep telling people is that if you guys are ready to run McDaniels out of town after 1 year, you're going to be doing the Al Davis 2-step.
Exactly.
1-2 fire, 1-2 fire. It's like a Mamba. It's like 1-2. For coaches, 1 year, 2 year fire. And you can see how that was hard, and what unproductivity we've had for all those years that we did that. So, yeah, we regressed in wins. But the bottom line is that, excuse me, this was a year where last year we were 7-2 in 1-score games. This year, I think the stat was like 3-9 or something ridiculous like that. So again, 1-score game, you score a little bit more and you stop them, then you don't have those 1-score games idioms. And so that's why I'm going to say coaching. I'm going to give it a D because again, you still need some time to get the stuff implemented and coached out. And I will also say this, and again, I hate going back to the Niner game, but when a certain quarterback was no longer there, the team played a lot better, scoring 34 or 35 points on the number one defense in the NFL. And it was the same play calling, but they seemed to play a lot better when some of the distractions were gone. And I'm not going to have people say, I'm bashing a certain quarterback with the initials Delta Charlie. I'm just staying right out. It takes a bit, and it takes a bit. And again, at the end of the year, it's year one of the transition. We didn't think it was going to be a transition, but it certainly is playing out to be a transition. Year one sucked, and we have at least one more year of another look-see of what McDaniels will do. Because again, I think that he's going to be a little bit, and again, maybe I have aspirations. I think he's going to be a little bit more successful the second time around than he was the first time around, where he was canned midway second year. I have that feeling.
Well, I guess the second time's a charm. I want to go back to Stidham's performance. And oh, by the way, the very next week, he gave us a Derek Carr similar performance against Kansas City. No surprise.
Yeah, but I also would like to tell you that we lost 2 offensive linemen against Kansas City that were not lost against the Niners.
Well, let's put it this way. Whenever a new quarterback goes out there that people don't have the film on, regular season film on, I noticed that there's a record of success. Now, Heidi, I don't know whether you agree with me on this. I was looking at the way Purdy, was wowing everybody until A, the teams got better they played against, and B, they started to get a book of knowledge on him. I mean, it was the same with Stidham. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we hadn't seen any regular season games. And the first time out, people were feeling their way around. Second thing is all of our weapons were there. Okay? Waller played, Renfro played. How many times did that happen this year? Captain, anybody can help me with that? How many times did we have Adams, Renfro, Waller on the field at the same time? How many times did
2
that
or 3
happen?
games?
Maybe. I
think it was maybe 3 or 4 games.
Let's do apples with apples and oranges with oranges. The situation is similar. Third thing, Stidham. How many offensive coordinators has he had?
One.
Trained by one guy. Been talking in his ears since day one when he was with the Patriots and now here at the Raiders. He only has had one system to work with, and that's McDaniel's system. I mean, it's just not apples to apples there. And once again, we come up with the Kansas City game, 13 points. Oh, are we not surprised? Kansas City's a playoff team on the way to the playoffs, yes. But I'm not surprised that the offense similarly did not perform in that game. Another thing that happened the last 5 games, I don't know whether people were watching, the last 4 games, Jacobs was held to under 75 yards each game. And I'm not certain. There was this huge explosion of yardage in the midseason, but once again, defenses and defensive coordinators adjust. by the end of the season, he was back down to 45, 50-yard a game performances. So, those kind of things happen. And I'm just going to give the offense a C, only because compared to other NFL teams, they did just as well. We see it as they did terrible, but compared to other teams, they did all right. Top 15.
Yeah, but what do you give the coaching?
Yeah, and the coaching, excuse me, I never went, I have to go to the coaching. F. I just have to give it an F. I think that, and Captain, please help correct me. I want to be corrected, and people out there, I just think McDaniels was coaching to show Mark Davis what a terrible team he had.
So basically, you saying that the coaching staff tanked the play calling in order to expose the people that he wanted to have gone.
Correct. And the all or nothing attitude. Heidi, please help me out here. The play calling where it's 4th and 1, but yet you want to go for a touchdown. You want to go 30 yards instead of 1. Continually came up over and over and over again. It was like, you're going to execute this or you're going to lose this game.
You can tie the game, but instead you go for the victory against one of the best teams in the league.
And a team that's been our nemesis for many, many years in the division. You have a chance to tie, to give your guys a chance to play in overtime. But no, it's make this play or die. Constantly putting the Raiders in that kind of offense, in that kind of situation. And then let's talk about halftime adjustments.
What halftime adjustments?
None.
You see the other guys caught on to what you're doing. Are there any adjustments? Are there any new plays thrown out there?
Oh, yeah, right. That's right, Mike. That's for sure. Peggy knows so much more than me.
No, and Mike, thank you so much, but I'm the kind of person that just throws out things to think about. Okay?
Peggy knows football, though. You do know football, ma'am.
We got to think about it. I mean, what is this not seeing that the other side is caught on to what your game plan is, and absolutely no adjustment whatsoever.
I think I'm going to leave that up, just like Mr. Hand did in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I like that. I think I'm going to leave that up for the rest of the show, Mike. I think I'm going to leave that up.
No, because I'm just throwing out Heidi food for thought. We got to think about what kind of coaching staff the Raiders have needed for the last 20 years. We need smart guys that can see what the other side is doing, see how you're getting shut down and beat, and make changes between quarters. I mean, it's too much to ask between series, Andy Reid like, but certainly between quarters. I've been waiting for a coaching staff like that for 20 years. We don't have one now.
I'd go for a coaching staff that believes defense is important.
No, without a doubt, they'd have my heart. But this coaching staff, and I don't care what kind of changes they make in personnel, I'm going to tell you let's talk a little bit about DC Graham and his tendency, his love affair with the soft cover 2 when we're ahead. Captain, have you seen it?
I'm just still mesmerized by the comment that I don't know crap about football.
Oh, no. That's when people agree. But I want to talk about what Graham thinks he's doing when we have a lead. What kind of defenses he's been playing. And people are just mystified. What are you doing? Are you trying to hold the lead?
Well, I seem to recall the defense playing better overall the last 6 or 7 games of the year. They didn't win, but they played better. They made plays. They played much better than they did at the beginning of the year, because I think that the people know what they were supposed to do. They were gelling in the system.
Points allowed. Heidi, I'm gonna have to leave because I'm hogging the floor. Points allowed. I don't care how many yards you allowed. I don't care about your sacks, which you were almost bottom of the league. I don't even care about your turnover. Points allowed. You just don't change games. You don't make an impact on games. You don't give your offense good field position. You don't get the opposing field team off the field often enough to win games. And I don't know what Graham's going to do. Could be it definitely is a talent issue, but there's something else going on. Heidi, please help me.
I don't know. I mean, Graham was supposed to be this young genius.
Younger. Yeah. He's not really that young. He's younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, coming over from the Giants didn't want to lose him, and they wanted to keep him because he was doing such a great job. And, I think part of it could be that expectations were so high. But the thing is, there was a lack of talent. I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
And coaching did not address.
Go ahead.
Coaching did not address. Coaching did not address the areas of weakness. Management did not address the areas of weakness again. On the defensive line or linebacker. That we had some linebackers, but they were in the paramedics tent the entire year. They just kept,
Poor Perryman. I mean, he was trying to stay on Divine Diablo. We lost him 5 games. I mean,
yeah.
But we were seeing a lot of new guys too, which I liked. But never was.
And some of them showed a lot of promise too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that they didn't show promise, but Graham, I mean, he was just a huge disappointment. I think part of it was the expectations, but part of it is just he sucked. He just plain sucked.
Captain, it's what you do with the guys you have. I mean, I always judge a coach by that. How do you take the talent you have, or lack thereof, and make them into a unit? As bad as Lovey was, the Houston Texans were, their defense still played decent. Okay, they scored way better in a lot of defensive categories than we did. It's unfortunate that they let them go, but the same matter exists. You take the players you have and you work with them, and by the 17th game, I expect to see a cohesive unit. Didn't get it. We just didn't get it, and that's very unfortunate. What did Giants fans say when I hear the Giants all together now? What do you think about Graham? They said, "We're glad he's gone. Now we're a playoff team." Now,
I think they're a playoff team because Dable, as well as Wink Martindale, who I did want as the defensive coordinator, and now I'm on record on that one, made that team a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
But again, if you look at Graham, and putting him in comparison to Paulie G, even though they have the same initials, Paulie G, Patrick Graham, I guess that people are saying, well, we can't hire a defensive coordinator whose initials are Papa Golf, but I don't know if there is any other defensive coordinators who have initials that are Papa Golf, but we'll see. I'm just saying, I'm of a nature, and I guess because I don't know anything about football, as Mike Sarah has painfully pointed out to me. I'm of a nature that I am willing and I am more patient because I am a Raiders fan. I've been waiting for what, 30 years to see another Super Bowl win.
When we get Super Bowl
I've waited
coaches,
10 years
Super
to
Bowl
see,
team.
like this, just to see an ascendancy. I've waited over 10 years to see a playoff win. So I'm willing to obviously give time for people to gel, and I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. You guys don't have to agree with me. And by the way, Mike, I can give a rat's ass if you don't agree with me or not. But I appreciate you watching the show. But I'm willing to give time, and that's me.
Do we have a choice, Captain Dole? Do we have a choice?
I can't make any, Carol, other than the fact that she brought me over there during Stabler's induction dinner or the after party in Canton, other than Miss Davis calling me over to her table to talk with me, she has never given me any other shrift within the organization to do things. So I can't do anything. You guys can bitch, moan, and groan. And I say guys and gals can bitch, moan, and groan your asses off. Okay.
He's not going to sell the team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't have.
What are you talking about?
I don't have any play. I have to sit there and take it.
As other fans of the other 31 teams. And believe me, there are owners out there that are a lot worse than Mark Davis and have been at it a lot longer with no success. I mean, we got 10 teams with no Super Bowl wins. Come on. The Lions, come on, we could name them all. There's a lot worse owners out there. Talking about the owner, and Heidi, I'm giving one of my famous quotes. Talking about the owner is a symbol of powerlessness. Stop talking about Mark Davis has to sell the team. It ain't happening. That is his mother and father's team.
It's not happening, and I don't think it would make that big of a difference. I really don't.
I mean, maybe we'll get us. It's about smart ownership. It really is. Smart ownership. Look what's going on in Carolina. Jets. I mean, we could name just a host of franchises that are struggling. Their owners keep making. Look what's going on in Denver. And I heard you guys all talking about Denver, right? How many coaches have they had? Lots of coaches. And now they're going with Peyton. Is that the word, Heidi?
No, that's official.
They are going with Peyton. They are giving up draft capital for him. I don't remember what it was they're giving him up. They're giving up a fair amount, especially for a coach, and they're getting him and a third-round draft pick back. I think with them, it goes way beyond coaching, but coaching is a start.
It is. It's the key, because from if you get good coaching, they pick good players. They install good systems and put players in that fit their systems. They make good football decisions that fits with their vision of how they want the team to be, what they want it to look like. We just haven't had smart guys, and we still don't. And I wish fans would just stop with the Mark Davis needs to sell. Y'all not fooling me. Y'all still mad because he moved the team from Oakland to Vegas. Mark will never be forgiven. Mark will always be trashed because of that. He's not selling the team. Stop talking about it. Start talking about things that can actually be changed. That's what I have to say about that. But now I want to move on to what everybody's buzzing about, Captain, the car situation.
Oh,
What?
I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to talk about that because I have a slant, according to Mike Sarah.
Well, the whole point here is, Heidi, have you heard the word? They
The
they have you heard what the Raiders are trying to do, playing chicken?
what is the latest? I've heard everything.
The
Well, the only thing
word
I heard was that they were not allowing his agents to talk to anybody else. So basically, they're keeping the agent and Carr in the dark.
Which, according to the collective bargaining agreement, they're not allowed to seek a trade until after the conference championship games.
that's that's perfectly fine. Um, but the
Now they're
explorers,
over.
right? So permission may be given soon. But here's the thing: how do the Raiders plan to make a GM give them anything for Carr? I'm a GM. I know you're trying to unload him and his contract. Why should I give up major capital for him?
Fear of missing out that somebody else will get them first. That's the only leverage. That's really the only leverage. FOMO.
I can see that. I can see that. But what is the point of the Raiders basically showing Carr the door and then not letting him walk through that door? Why can't he just go out and see? You're saying that the rules prevented him up till Sunday from seeking trade partners. Is that what you're saying? It prevented him from exploratory meetings.
Right. He was prevented from that because of the rules.
Okay.
But now he is prevented from that because the Raiders have not given him permission yet. Which, who knows, behind closed doors, maybe they have. But
And we're just reading a lot of rumors. Captain,
yeah.
what's the chances of Carr and Captain Heidi? What's the chances of Carr returning to the Raiders next season?
You would have an easier time getting free food in a Chinese restaurant or free fellatio from a Vegas call girl.
Than you would getting Carr back.
Getting Carr back on the Raiders next year.
This is not a Jimmy Garoppolo situation.
Or a Baker Mayfield. I pay you to sit. Nothing like that. That's not going to happen.
No.
All right. Now we can start.
No, he's gone.
Yeah. Now we can start realistically talking about places we'd like to see him go. Captain, you have that favorite place you'd like to see him go?
No, and here's the thing. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care where he goes. I would prefer him going to the NFC because then you can only have to see him one time in 4 years. Okay. Right. I would prefer that. And I think that it would be better for the Raiders because there are more. I mean, there's an entire division in the NFC that wants a quarterback, and it's called the NFC South. An entire division that needs a quarterback. Okay. There's plenty of other teams, but if I had my druthers, I would trade him to the NFC if I'm allowed to trade him at all. Just from the fact that you don't want to see somebody that you have a history with, or you want to see him at least time as possible.
But seriously, and then I'm going to come back with you, Captain. Think about the team who not only needs a quarterback, but perhaps whose offensive system. Defense.
Again, it's immaterial to me to where he goes. What I want is the most capital that I can get for him. And by the way, if the most capital is from an AFC team, then go ahead and trade him to an AFC team. I want the most bang for the buck. I want the most whipped cream on the sundae and the pizza. I want extra pepperonis and extra cheese. I want it all. Okay.
Captain's got the whole menu in his hand. And Heidi, I mean, what I'm trying to eke out of you is a place where you really like, because I've got a couple of places that I'd like to see him go.
I'll tell you where I would like to see him go as a car fan, and I am a car fan. I like Carr.
Too. Mm-hmm.
I like him as a man, and I liked him as a player. I think he got the raw deal in Vegas. And I'm not afraid to say that. I know there are a lot of fans that are going to disagree with me, but I do. I think he was disrespected and treated very poorly. But I would have liked, it's not going to happen, I would have liked to see him go to the Dolphins.
That's interesting. What are they going to do with poor little Tua?
Oh, he still doesn't know what time zone he's in.
I know it. I mean,
his poor little head. I mean, he's
2 concussion protocols in the same season, Captain. I mean, Miami might be a nice place. Very nice setting. They've got young Daniel down there.
Here's the thing. It's like people are calling me a car hater. I'm not. I'm not a car hater. I just finally, after all these years, just got fed up with not seeing any results. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's like one of those things where it's like, I had enough of it. But because I've had enough of it, then I'm called an a-hole because I'm a car hater. I'm never been. In fact, I stuck up for Derek Carr for year upon year upon year upon year, saying, well, hey, it's the defense or it's the play calling or he doesn't have support characters. Year after year after year after year, I gave him all the rope that he eventually hung himself with, and I finally got sick of it. Okay, and that was this year, because then I would see the attitude of, and that pissed me off at the end as well. It's like he was never a positive leader or the go-getter that we really needed in for that team to be around. I mean, last year,
would it have mattered with the kind of defense that we play and the stupid coaches that we hire? Would it have mattered with the kind of defense we play and the stupid coaches we hire?
Well, I mean, they played for Rich Bisaccia last year. The team played for him. They didn't play for Carr. They played for Bisaccia.
We did hire Dennis Allen, Jack Del Rio, Gruden, and McDaniel. Would it have mattered if Carr was the guy that you wanted to see? If he did all those things, you think it would have mattered in wins and losses with the kind of team that Carr had around him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it makes a difference what the composition of the team is from top to bottom. It does, and I think that I mean, Jack Del Rio was always Jack Del Rio was last in the building and first out instead of the other way around. Gruden at least
a
was
former defensive coordinator whose defense couldn't play defense.
Peggy, okay. Let me say on record, Jack Del Rio can bite my nads. Okay, last in the building, first out. Not a fan. Okay. Did you catch that? It's not first in and last out. It's last in and first out.
Yeah,
the opposite of what you want, okay? Not a fan of Del Rio, okay? Gruden I was at least a fan of because at least he showed some chutzpah and some positivity and how to get the team together. He showed some kick in the ass, right? He was still too conservative, especially the second go around. Not a big fan of Gruden either, okay? So who we talk? Dennis Allen is a weasel, wink, wink, and he deserves whatever he gets in New Orleans because I think he's a crap coach. Okay, who else?
They don't know it. New Orleans Saints fans don't know it yet.
Okay, so we went through with Dennis Allen, Gruden, Del Rio, and we're on McDaniels. Okay, and yeah, McDaniels it is not my idea. It was not my idea of the greatest thing coming to the team. But I'm going to have to at least work with him because, again, Carol Davis doesn't have Captain Jack on speed dial. Say, hey, Jack, what do you think about the code? Oh, yeah, okay, Carol, I think we should do it. They don't care what I say. So I have to deal with it. I have to suffer with it, and I'm going to give my opinions on what I would like to do, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the games if I can, and I'm going to, and as long as I'm able to, okay, I'm going to have to deal with it. So I'm going to have to put a positive, I'm going to put the lipstick on the pig, and I have to deal with it.
Well, I still want to get back to the car situation, and I did ask a direct question, which I didn't get an answer to, but I'm not going to nail you to it. I said, if Carr was all the things everybody wanted him to be, with the kind of teams that surrounded him, do you think it would have made a difference in the won and loss column? Would we be a playoff contender?
Derek Carr is Derek Carr.
Play Carr. No, if Carr had been what you wanted him to be, the kind of leader, the kind of comeback guy that could win us games in the fourth quarter and make up for our defensive sins, a good red zone guy, all those things, a guy that pulled the ball down and run, do you think it would have made any difference?
I think it wouldn't have, because I don't think he is that type. I mean, I know you're saying if he was, I don't think he could ever be that person. And that's why it said we needed somebody like that, and we never got it. So what we probably should have done was years ago, we kept like, the Band-Aid, like peeling the Band-Aid a little bit. We finally ripped it off this year. I think years ago, when we had the better offers for what Derek Carr was worth, like I said, there was talk about the Redskins were going to give up 2 1s and 2 2s or something like that for Derek Carr a couple years ago. Okay, there were offers that were made that came out. I think that we missed the boat. We missed the boat on getting rid of him at his highest worth.
And that segues into what's next.
Yeah, what's next
for the Raiders? Heidi, I want you to help me out here and talk to me about what's next. What are you guessing the quarterback situation is going to be next year? I mean, realistically.
Well, first of all, I think they're going to fall over themselves in trying to trade Carr, and they're going to end up having to release him.
Right.
I thought they would trade them, that he would waive the no trade clause and he would go somewhere. But now after watching them mismanage everything and continue to mismanage everything, they're not going to be able to figure anything out with them. They're going to have to release them.
So what's next? What's the quarterback situation? Quite frankly, I'm happy with Stidham.
I would actually be happy with Stidham for next year, and to draft a quarterback behind him.
But Sarah, your invincible Peggy says that Stidham is the man, but she knows football.
But we need to segue into what we're talking about and what's next. Now you don't have a car, so you've got Stidham.
Stidham knows the offense.
Yes, he does.
He has worked with the offensive coordinator exclusively.
And
no other ideas swimming around his head.
He is more mobile. Mm-hmm. He is able to move around, and he can unify the team. And next year is going to be another throwaway season. Mm-hmm. So you might as well throw it away with him and groom someone behind him. Right. Now, because we have McDaniels and Ziegler, I'm sure they could mess that up as well. And they would do something as stupid as sign Tom Brady and bring him in. I could really see them doing that. I could see them being that stupid.
And that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear people come out with ideas. Bring in a vet quarterback, aka Brady, to give Stidham a chance to develop. Is that what you're thinking? That was your
I don't think
basic.
Stidham's the answer. I don't think it's a
No,
question of having
he's
Stidham develop
he's
behind
your
anyone.
transition. He's your transition. And Mike, Sarah, I'm
Exactly.
finally going to say it. Fox
And
you. Okay?
then, Captain, we want to talk now about what Heidi already suggested bringing a vet.
Yeah.
Let Stidham
And I've been on record for the last couple weeks. Stidham and Jacoby Brissett are my two choices to come in here. Okay, because they know the offense. And Jacoby actually is a little bit is actually a decent quarterback. Okay, I think he just needs the opportunity. So Jacoby Brissett and Stidham, let them vie out for the transitional quarterbacks. Draft a quarterback, not in round one, not in round two. This year. Listen, draft a quarterback in round 3 at the highest. That rates out, that is a cerebral quarterback. You're going to need somebody that is smart, that can pick up the system. You don't need a guy who's got a cannon for an arm, or can run like the second coming of Jackie Robinson, okay? You need somebody that can scramble, that can think, that can throw decent, okay? That is a smart player. You figure out who that guy is by your interviews in the combine, all the things like that. When you bring in quarterbacks like that, plus you have interviews with other people, you call around, say, who is this guy? You get a quarterback at most at high 3rd round, and that is your understudy, okay? And see if he pans out, because remember, you also got Garbers that's been there for a year, so you see what he
practice squad. Right, you're gonna see what he does.
On the practice squad, you got 4 guys right there. Say, there you go, guys, have at it. Because if it's a throwaway year, like Peggy, or not Peggy, sorry, if it's a throwaway year like Heidi says, then it's pretty beneficial that we're going to probably be no better than 500, although there is no 500 with a 17-game schedule, but mediocre. And next year is when all of the good quarterbacks allegedly are coming out. So you see what you got this year, and then you plan for next year. And if this is a throwaway year, there you go. Mike, I'm just saying, you are a loyal listener, and I'm not hating on you. You're crapping on me, brother. You might want to look in the mirror before you say things.
I want to go right to Josh, to talking about Josh. Now, I saw the franchise tag amount. I don't know whether everybody knows the 2023 franchise and transition amounts are out. And I looked at running back, and besides kicker punter, it's the second lowest, $10 million. That's the franchise tag for Josh.
10-1, right?
Right. Because we don't have any choice. He's a free agent. He can go anywhere he wants, correct? Unless we tag him. What say you about tagging him to keep him?
I say that I would rather not tag him. The only way that I would use the franchise tag is if he's going to walk. Okay, I really think that if again, he's already stated in no uncertain terms, he says, as long as it makes sense. Okay, as long as it makes sense, find something that makes sense and go with that. Okay, I don't want to overpay. If the number is 10-1, and obviously the agents are going to want to go high, but say, hey, we'll give you like 10-5 and then 11-2. Like make it like an ascending scale on a 3-year deal, and see if he goes for that. And if he doesn't, then you tag him and you work it out.
Right. Heidi, what are you thinking? The Raiders make the move to try to get him back, re-sign him?
Well, I believe the Raiders have already made an offer, and he's already turned it down.
Mm-hmm.
Is that official, or is that just what you think, Heidi?
I said I believe.
Oh, okay.
So
I was.
I'm just saying, seeing the rumors of the internet,
Okay.
and I think Josh wants to see what he can get on the open market. I think franchise tagging him would be a great way to foster bad will with him.
Right.
I use that as a last.
He's not going to play on a franchise tag. He would be crazy to. One injury and
seriously, among running backs, does 10 million seem a low ball to you?
It seems lowball just because they seem a lot more valuable than they're valued.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why wide receivers are getting $30 million a year, or close to $30 million a year. Running backs should be worth more than what they're getting, I think, in the grand scheme of things. But he's not going to get it from the Raiders.
No.
Raiders aren't going to give it to him.
Captain, do you have that feeling that they're just not going to meet his price?
No, I actually get that feeling that he's going to say a number, and they're going to say, "Well, we're sorry, we can't meet that." I mean, I honestly do, and like Ed says, he's going to take.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's going to shop his wares. He's going to wind up in either Kansas City or Buffalo or some team that is a perennial playoff team, and he's going to go there, and he's not going to look back.
And he's going to be very valuable to them. Very valuable.
In Buffalo particular, since we all know now after watching the playoffs that Buffalo needs a serious upgrade at running back. And somebody to help Josh out. I mean, Josh Allen can't be the running game anymore. They have to have a serious threat in the backfield. And unfortunately, my baby Singletary just ain't the one. So that's a good place for him to end up. So you don't see Josh on the team next year. Waller. What about Waller? What's that? What are you thinking about his future now that everything's a little bit more in focus? Heidi? He's pointing to
I honestly, at this point, my gut reaction is he's not on either.
You don't see.
That's my gut reaction. I think that they'll get what they can for him.
Wow.
Which isn't going to be what they could have gotten for him last year.
Correct. Not after this season. I mean, it's a shame to have to deal him in the free agent market. I mean, how many games he missed this year? 7, 8, 9 games? Somebody out there can help me, but I mean, he had to miss more than half the season. And now his trade value. So then why do you trade him if his value is so low? Why don't you give him a year, bring that value up? I mean, strategically, why would you try to trade him when his value is so low? Can't get anything for him. Deal with.
I just don't think his heart is in it, and I think the Raiders know that.
Oh my goodness, it's worse than I thought. Captain, you agree?
Yeah, I actually agree. I think that although he played, and you can see that he played with more of a pep in his step the last 2 games when he was out there. I firmly believe that Waller had issues with Carr, and I can just see the way that, like I said, he just played a lot better the last 2 games as far as him wanting it.
After he took most of the season off, I'd be playing a lot better too.
True, and he wanted to showcase himself. I think that it was a matter of the cloud that like the cloud of funk that was hanging over me, or some of it was issues, because remember in all of those PCs that Carr had on the podium was a lot of digs that were made.
Also, I will add that I think that they had issues as well.
Yeah.
I think the two
like,
of them did.
It was like, I'm not saying it was Darren Waller. No. I didn't say that at all. But the digs were made. And they kind of, in the press, they kind of kissed and made up, but they didn't kiss and make up.
Yeah, well, I have very little. I don't care about the credibility of a guy who missed as many games as he missed after I paid him.
Yeah.
I paid him. I mean, I don't even understand why we care what he thought about Carr, since he wasn't contributing. I mean, see, that's what happens on losing teams. This dysfunctional thing goes down to the player level. What are we talking about? I don't care what Waller thought about Carr. Waller wasn't there. He did not help this team this year. So as far as mine is concerned, I don't care what his opinion of Carr, Stidham, McDaniels, or anybody else. He wasn't a contributor this year. But why would you deal him, knowing you're not going to get what he wants? Let's go to Renfro. Let's go right to Mr. Renfro.
I think Sean Brady just said it all. Raiders always break what's not broken. They fired Bill Musgrave after Carr had his best season. Well, I think that says it all.
That was a disaster for Carr's career, and but no one on the Raiders cared.
Well, you can blame Mike Tice for that.
McKenzie didn't care.
Yeah, well,
Del
like I said,
Rio didn't care.
Mike Tice was the instigator in getting Musgrave fired, because him and Musgrave did not get along. But the other guy that was just fired from that they upgraded
Downing.
Downing. That was just fired from was it in Tennessee? He's like, all these people are looking at Downing to be the new. Oh, you better sign him. And so they ousted Musgrave to save basically Tice and Downing were running like a two-man, a three-card Monte. Okay, so they ousted Musgrave, and Carr paid for it as well,
and kept Ken Norton Jr.
Yeah,
you see, and gave him a co-defensive coordinator just in case they have to replace him, which they eventually did mid-season. You see, this is the kind of dysfunction that does not go on championship teams. It just doesn't. You do not have the kind of musical coaches, people not being rewarded for good performance, not being held accountable for bad performance. That doesn't happen on championship teams. And unfortunately, the Raiders are still engaged in this coach. I don't know how anybody could say Graham did a great job this year. Whether he should be gone, give him another year. I don't know how anybody can say he did a good job. And that's the kind of thing. How can you say keep the bad coaches and release the good coaches? That's what we're dealing with. But let's get to Renfro. I want to hear about what you guys are thinking about Renfro. Stay or to go?
I think Renfro stays, because I think he really will work into that Danny Amendola, Wes Welker, Julian Edelman role. And granted, he will stay with the auspices. Now here's the curveball. I think he stays, but also I think there's a possibility that Carr and Renfro are packaged in a deal, because they have that rapport together, that they might be a package trade deal to somebody else. I think if that does not happen, he will stay. But like I said, if Renfro isn't packaged with Carr, I think Renfro will stay.
I mean, I hear you, but Heidi, did you get the sense that McDaniel's game plans really had a role for Renfro, like he had perhaps last year?
No, it was like he had no idea who he had on his team.
Mystified.
So unless, somebody's going to tell him this offseason, hey, you've got a Danny Amendola, you've got a Julian Edelman on your team, you need to game plan for him, he's still not going to know what to do with them. But I agree. I think Renfro does stay with a slightly renegotiated contract, unless he is packaged and traded. And I could see that happening if the Raiders actually don't fall all over themselves and mess up the trade deal, which I think they will.
I mean, we just have no track record to have confidence in, do we? I mean, that the Raiders are going to make the right moves, contract-wise, cap-wise, when it comes to figuring this thing out, figuring out how to rearrange it so they have more money available to get some credible veteran defensive lineman, defensive corner, shutdown corner, unless they draft one. And since we're talking about it and going through that, I mean, what are we thinking in terms of draft? 2 top players, and I know I asked you mid-season, but now I'm asking again after captain, after you've seen the whole season. 2 players, first round, second round. 2 positions.
I don't got names. I got positions.
Positions. 2
Yeah.
positions. First round.
Defensive tackle and edge / outside linebacker.
Okay. Heidi, your thoughts? The 2 positions, first and second rounds.
That I think they'll do, or that we need. Because what we'll do, seeing that we have the best kicking battery in the league, we have a kicker and a punter who are top notch. I think we draft a kicker and a punter the first 2 positions.
We have not seen a Ziegler draft, Captain, have we? We do not know what their tendency are. I say we got to go corner and defensive tackle, first and second rounds. I mean, I know people are in love with BPA, right? Best player available. But, I mean, you just have to go. And our draft gurus out there, y'all going to get to working to get us shutdown corner, defensive tackle, and captain's outside linebacker, rush linebacker, right? DE.
Yeah, well, edge slash either depends upon what you want to have. Graham, who apparently you think sucks, wants more either as a bookend for Max Crosby, and then maybe Chandler Jones gets put in as it gets less exposed, or do you want him as a rush end or an outside linebacker? Here's something I would be a novel concept. How about a linebacker that can cover a tight end?
Whoa. And see, I keep going back, Heidi. I keep going back to people when they say that, and Captain's right. But are the colleges producing them? Why are the colleges producing these one-trick ponies that can stop the run? Why aren't we getting out of the colleges linebackers that can cover? I mean, I'm looking at this year's draft and I only see 2 covered linebackers. That's not enough for the NFL. We need more. Why aren't the colleges producing them? That's the way the game is going. You want your linebackers covering tight ends, slot receivers.
That's what you want. And I will also add the selections I want them to make are defensive tackle and offensive line. I don't want to forget the offensive line as well.
Captain, we have neglected a discussion about that sorry offensive line that we had to deal with this year. I mean, I want to say it was inconsistent.
Yeah, but no, I don't think we neglected it. I firmly believe that they will probably, that's going to be where they go in free agency, that they're either going to go after a guard or a tackle or both in free agency, because they want to have somebody that is proven that they think can do the job. And I think that they're going to build the defense with kids per se.
Well, are we going to go on our annual right tackle hunt again?
No, I firmly believe that Mumford is a tackle of the future. I think that you give him more opportunity, Mumford will play well. I think the Farm slides over to center. He's an undersized guard, but he would make a really good center. And then you either draft another guard or get a guard in free agency, and then you get maybe in free agency you get that swing tackle. Okay, somebody of good caliber that could be the swing tackle. You finally get rid of Brandon Parker, so you get a swing tackle free agency that can come in. You draft a guard in the draft, and because you're going to get a guard in free agency. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to go primarily, guard tackle via free agency. My opinion. Well, I don't know anything about football.
You're happy with center.
Parm's going to center.
Okay.
And you get rid of James. You also save $5 million on your cap, but I don't know anything.
And then Heidi, your thoughts on the offensive line, just by position.
I'm going to say this for the last time, but there's a guy, he would have been good playing guard. His name was Jimmy Morrison.
Yeah.
You said
I'm going to say that for the last time. I'm going to let it die now.
I know.
I think Munford is the future at right tackle. I do believe we actually do have that covered. The guards, man, they need a little bit of work.
I mean,
it does need to be addressed in free agency or the draft. And last year we were pretty sure they were going to address that in free agency because it was such an obvious need, and they did nothing. And we're like, well,
part of one of my ongoing beliefs that they were going to throw Carr out there and just see, you're going to win it with what we give you. We'll see if you can step up, and he didn't step up. And things like design rollouts, things that would have helped him with a less than stellar line. I kept looking for him as a constant, and it just never happened. But yes, we go for right tackle. I'm not happy with neither one of the guards, pass blocking wise. They did a decent job running blocking when they wanted to.
Well, like I said, you don't have to worry about that because the guy that you're not happy with, the guard, is going to be center.
Oh, yeah. Well, then we're going to have a problem at guard. We're going to have an opening, right?
Right. That's why I said one guard via free agency, one guard draft.
One guard draft. I know. And now out to the corner. I just don't know what to do about that Raiders secondary. I can't figure out what Graham is trying to do, but I know we're lacking a shutdown corner. That I know for sure. But to go along with maybe Hobbs, what are y'all thinking? Who do we put at that other corner?
Well, you want him in the draft, didn't you? You said corner. Was that your order? Corner, first round?
I mean, quite frankly, if I draft a corner, he needs a baptism in fire. So he ain't going to be any good to me the first year. Now, I mean, realistically, if he's any good, he'll show me some brilliance at times, but he's going to be baptized. I mean, it's just, unless he's, one of those freaks of nature, he's gonna need a year to get his NFL feet wet. If I draft him.
For Win Model 88, we have the 7th pick in the first round, and I guess that means the 39th in the second.
Mm-hmm. Does it? Yeah. I'm thinking of that.
And I still say that 7th rounder, somebody's going to drop, and it's not going to be, and there's somebody's going to drop, or there's going to be availability for somebody that's going to fall in love with somebody that's dropping at 7. Let them have it. Pick up another 1 and another 2, and keep going down, because I'm saying that you're not going to get it all done this year.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
And you say, oh, you want the 7th because this guy dropped? Okay, we'll take your first this year, and a first next or whatever the sweetness you can get, and a like a third or whatever it says, but you keep following those picks, so you keep getting a first, but you get another one or another two on that, and you do that. And I firmly believe if this team does do things like that team that resides in New England, that's what they've done for a lot of the drafts. And I think that might be something that they're going to do.
Now, I wanted to segue in our last few minutes, right to talking about the NFL playoff, AFC title game, NFC title game, and the so-called controversy that came out of that. Did you hear about it, Heidi?
I actually heard very, very little, and I did not watch either of the games. So I really can't contribute other than go Eagles.
Well,
I'm so glad the Eagles did win, and I'm disappointed that the Bengals did not make it. And apparently there was a controversy about the end of that game.
Now, again, I wanted to talk about the trend, which is the NFL is rigged, trending on Twitter, trending on Instagram as the number one trend. The NFL is rigged. Okay? Now, I just want to make a side comment about the Bengals crying about bad ref calls when last year...
I was going to say that call was a year late.
That's right. Karma has a way of making its back. The inadvertent whistle and the mugging of Zay Jones on the last play of the game in the goal, clear pass interference. I don't care whether the ball was intercepted, thrown badly, shouldn't have been thrown at all. There was no question. The picture taken showed a Bengal defender with his arms literally around Zay Jones. Zay Jones couldn't have raised his ball to catch that ball if he wanted to, because he was being interfered with. No call. Okay? All I gotta say to the Bengals fans, welcome to the party, pal. Okay? We've been telling everybody about the bad officiating in the NFL for decades. They laughed at us. Now you see, don't you? You know, that's my commentary on it. Now you see. Oh, now you agree with us. But sorry, even if they're dead wrong, you get no do-overs. Heidi, your thoughts about just the NFL is rigged, the officiating?
I don't think it's rigged. Wrestling is rigged. I can tell you wrestling is rigged because when I used to work at the event center, they would not let us in the bowl during their rehearsals for the night because they didn't want anybody tweeting out the results before the matches actually took place. So I can tell you they are definitely rigged.
Yeah.
But the officiating just sucks. Plain and simple. And they're going to be...
But why? I mean, we need to, instead of saying, oh, it's terrible, it's terrible. What was it? Is it terrible compared to when? When was it good? When, as far as me being a Raider fan, it was never good. I mean, I'm sorry. Back to the Immaculate Deception. I never thought the officiating was all that great.
What I will say is there are favorites among the officials. I will give them that. I will say that there are favorites for the officials.
We're getting close. The plot thickens. Tell us, Heidi.
Oh, I mean, there are people that are going to get calls that other players aren't. And there are players that are going to get called things, Vontez Burfict, that another player would not get called for. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it is. But as far as the NFL calling down to the officials saying, no, you need to throw that flag because we need to play that play over, or on, I don't even want to say on instant replay that NFL doesn't say what it is, because the NFL does say what it is on an instant replay. But it's not rigged as in the ending of the games are decided ahead of time.
No, I'm going there. Mafia
But
rigged. Betting line rigged. The only way it can happen is through the refs. You know that. It's the refs. If the
Yeah, and
NFL has
I
a
will
weak
say, yeah, I'm sorry. I will say that I don't know. There might be somebody that actually has a show with a referee on once a week. Oh, that's right, it's me. Um, and
quiet,
Thanks,
Captain. You
Pat.
don't know anything about football, remember?
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I don't know anything
But,
about
but
football, but
wait
I
a
know
minute. We want
somebody
you
who
to talk
does.
about the trend. If the NFL, any NFL game is truly going to be rigged, it ain't going to be the players. It's going to be the refs.
Well, yeah. Well, you
I'll
saw. Well,
give you that. Yeah.
you see that with Tim Donaghy in the
Mm-hmm.
NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the people that can rig point spreads and things like that. That can rig calls that need to be made in order to keep things close. Because it's such a what do you call it, eye of the beholder type of league. And
Subjective, yeah.
yeah, thank you, Peggy. It's
And it's in the
subjective.
head,
That
yeah.
is why when I hear from Ref Guru, and he goes and says, and it was amazing. He says, "Well, guess who is the side judge, and guess who is the back judge?" And you watch the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the side judge, and you see the back judge throw flags at the most inopportune time.
Yes.
I.e., the side judge that was calling the game with Pittsburgh, last name Mahalik, who gave the hands to the face, and actually they called it a hands to the face, and it was basically or a face mask, and it was hands to the face by Foster Moreau against the guy. It's very rarely called, and it's a subjective call, but that was the guy who says this guy's going to screw us. And then when you have a guy by the name of I don't know, Boger, and not elder Boger, but little boy Boger, who's the back judge in front of me, and I'm watching him look at what I'm seeing because I'm at the same vantage point, and I'm like, what are you looking at? And he won't throw a flag when it's needed. He won't throw a flag when it's needed. And I know he's got the same
Mystifying.
looking at him, I'm looking at his
Mystifying.
pass, and he won't throw it. So it is subjective, and they control the tempo. They control what is called and what is not called, and how you can rig a game is through the zebras.
They can erase points off the board. They're the only ones with the power to do so. They can take points off the board. And that's if and Heidi, I'm with you. You're hoping against hope that this is not what you're seeing, but more and more these non-calls.
No, I'm with you on what you're saying.
It's why are we
I'm with
seeing
you on what
more?
you're saying. I'm just saying that the NFL cannot decide, okay, the Chiefs are winning this game for sure, and we know ahead of time, because the game still has to be played. But they can influence that, and there are people that are going to get those calls that other people aren't going to get, and there are people are going to get called for things that other people aren't going to get.
I mean, and then this thing that people tell me, there's holding on every play. If they called it every time it happened, the game would never progress. Listen, I'm not asking for holding to be called on every play. Captain, go with me on this. I'm asking for holding to be called on plays where it made a difference. Okay? Where
like the safety, the holding call that would have been a safety against the Rams in the end zone, or the holding call against the two long plays in that last drive, including the touchdown against the Rams. Oh no. And Max Crosby was molested. He wasn't held. He was molested.
When something positive results, and Heidi, maybe I'm being nuts. When something positive results from that play, and it was the result of a penalty, you got to call that. I'm sorry. You got to call it.
Okay.
And if that means a flag is, on the ground 3 plays out of every drive, okay. But I don't think you have to throw it that long. When it changes games, you got to do something. What?
Hey, Peggy, can I go back? Can I go back to many, many moons ago? And I don't know if everybody can remember this, but I don't know football, and I have a bad memory, Mike. So there you go. When the Raiders played the Patriots the week before they played the Dolphins in London, right? They called Grady Jackson for a penalty off on the opposite side of where McFadden had that winning touchdown. They called him for a stupid penalty that wasn't a penalty, which took the touchdown off the board, right? And it would have been a winning touchdown. So it's when you call them, how you call them, and who you call them on, and again, when you don't call a holding penalty like for the entire game, and then when they're on the 2-yard line and Grady gets a holding call that knocks off the touchdown, well, there you go. I'm not a baby, Mike. I'm just letting you have it, brother.
No, but I mean, this is what's getting people, and like I said, I have no tears shed for anybody that's finally waking up to the fact that there's something wrong with the NFL officiating. Like I said, if you're a Raider fan, you've been knowing this for decades.
Yeah.
Okay? You've been knowing that there's obvious favoritism, that there's obvious calls that are made that come from the sky. And I know we're getting towards the end of our time, but Heidi, your Super Bowl prediction.
Ooh. Well, I've got to go with what I want. So I'm going to go. I want my Eagles. I was rooting for the Eagles when they played the Patriots, and they pulled it out with Nicky Foles. And I really, really, really hope they pull this out. Because I'm actually going to watch this game. I haven't watched any of the playoffs. So
You got to watch. Then you got to watch one. You should reward yourself with one. Captain, your prediction for the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna also, and I'm trying to be unbiased in my opinion, but I'm gonna throw the biasness out, or I'm gonna say it's because of the thing, obviously because of how much I cannot stand Kansas City.
Oh, that goes without saying.
I'm also gonna say if the Eagles can beat the number one defense in the NFL. If they can beat the number one defense in the NFL handily, okay, in what they were running. Now, granted, the Niners didn't have an offense, so that obviously played into their hands, which was good. But they have enough of an offense. They got the two kids at wide receiver that play well with under Hurts. Mm-hmm. Their offensive line is above average. I think that the offensive line will keep, Jones and the kid from Florida whose name used to play at the University of Florida that now number 9 or number 6. One of those defensive players with a single digit number just always confuses the hell out of me. But I think that they have enough that they're going to beat the Chiefs. Now, what I want to ask, because I do have a Javon Curse Eagles jersey. Is it?
There's a ghost from the past.
Is it? Well, only because it was on the discount rack and he was a Gator like me, so I bought it because it was on the discount rack. The only one of 2 jerseys that I have that are not Raider jerseys in football: a Javon Curse jersey. And then I have a Megatron jersey because I always liked the colors of, the Hawaiian blue. And again, it was on the discount rack, and I always liked Megatron. Okay. What I want to ask is it wrong for me to have the Super Bowl broadcast with me wearing the Eagles Javon Curse jersey, and then people will freak the hell out?
I think the broadcast might be pushing it.
I haven't seen
I
that.
think showing up at your neighbor's house wearing it, that might be different.
No. I ain't leaving the house. I ain't leaving the house. The Super Bowl party is at my house. Because what I've done in the past is I've displayed it. Because I know that people would just have a friggin' conniption if I wore the damn thing.
Well,
Okay.
we're advising strongly to wear a Raider jersey.
No. I'm not wearing it. I'm just gonna.
And you can certainly hang up your Javon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have it displayed. I can have it displayed because obviously that's where where I want to have the Eagle. Remember, I'm from Philly, folks. Now, granted, I've been a Raiders fan from jump for 51 years now.
You seem like far too decent of a person to be a Philadelphia fan.
And I have to tell y'all, I'm just one of those Raider fans. I'm not rooting for anybody. I hope they both lose. Okay, they're not Raiders. I just can't.
I get it, but
I'm not choosing anybody.
It's the team that you want to, that is the least obtrusive to be the Super Bowl champ. That's what I go for.
They're
team?
Both trash to me. I'm a Raider fan. They're trash. Both of them. Eagles ain't been no friend of mine. I don't like them Eagles.
Obtrusive team, because somebody's going to win. Somebody's going to win every year.
Unfortunate.
Least obtrusive team, and that's what you go for each year when the Raiders aren't in there.
Don't call me crazy, but Captain, we got to wrap it up. And it's very nice to see Jack and Jay and Edward and all the people that stopped in tonight. And I really, really appreciate it. This is probably our final show of the season, although I'm thinking I want to have some, just a draft only show somewhere around in April. But
that's the new season.
Well, when the draft comes around, I want to bring back some of our people, Mr. Cato and Mr. Whipple. They'll have your draft boards, and Captain, you will approve. And Heidi, you will say,
I'm good at that.
They will have draft boards to present to you as we get close to the draft. I promise. It's very nice talking to y'all, and we will see you sometime in April.
Thank you for coming, everyone. And listen to the Only Nation podcast, because next up we have a very special guest.
Very good. Thanks, Heidi. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
And that is the show for tonight. I want to thank Peggy and Heidi for coming in. And I do my, I do my commentary based upon the comments that I see. I have no problem seeing the comments that I see. I admire and I appreciate everyone that comes in here and lays comments out, because you are taking time out of your day to watch the show. But if you say things that I don't agree with, I'm going to make sure that I do, I will talk with you about it. And you know who you are. So that's all I'm going to say. Captain had inside knowledge of the magic carpet. I don't know about that one. Bishop, you can come in anytime. Like I said, this is the ladies' show. It's ladies' night. Peggy and Heidi run the show. And when we do have Angria there, Angria also has it's their show. I am just a producer. Okay, it's not my show. It is their show. So anytime that you want to be on, you just have to get with them. I agree with Sean Brady. I hope the Eagles bury the Chiefs. I trust me, Sean. I hope they do too. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But again, we have other shows. There will be tomorrow. There's the Wild Wild West show, which is on Wednesdays. It won a couple more shows of the Wild Wild West talking about Kansas City being in the Super Bowl. So we will have that show. That'll be 7:30 Eastern time here on this channel. 9 o'clock Eastern time will be the Yeah, Mike, you do. You have the right to disagree with me. I never said you didn't. I never said you didn't have the right to disagree with you, and I have the right to disagree with you too. Right? Works both ways. 9:00 tomorrow will be the NFL Nation live show with Ref Guru, Violator, and myself. Please come in. We will talk about the conference championship games. So again, I appreciate everybody that was here. I appreciate your views, and I appreciate the back and forth. But if you have your opinion, I have my opinion too. So I'm just saying, if you're going to voice yours, I'm going to voice mine. There you go. Healthy debate is okay. We're sworn enemies, not asked to enjoy your guys' show. Peggy told you. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a Gator partner. I am actually an alum because there are college fans. I call them T-shirt fans. They have a favorite college team, and it's because mommy and daddy bought them a T-shirt when they were young that said that was their college, and they have no clue. They're T-shirt fans, and there are a lot of T-shirt fans in college football. I'm a Gator alumnus, but yeah, and I'll tell you what, Georgia. I tell you, if we can get some of the Georgia defenders that dropped to us, like I said, I think is it Carter and the Ringo that you were talking about, the D-backs, that Georgia's got a hell of a defense. I would love to have as many Georgia Bulldogs on my team playing defense. Georgia's my number one, then the Gators. So there you go. Mike, yeah, if it's a comment that is very personal, I'm gonna take it personally. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna throw barbs at me making it personal, then I'm gonna have to take it personally. That's what I'm saying. Grew up in South Georgia and had family attend UGA, lifelong dog. And I tell you, and since we're talking about it, until the Gators can beat Georgia, they have no aspirations to be the best team in college football because you've got to beat Georgia first. That's just the way it is. Got to beat Georgia first. No, Mike. Jack Kenna. That's meant for me. He was talking. Mike, Sarah, and me have been going back and forth all night. Mike, Sarah, and me have been going back and forth all night. But again, anyway, far be it from me. Remember, tomorrow, Wild Wild West at 7:30 Eastern Time. NFL Nation Live at 9:00 Eastern Time. And we'll go from there. And we're getting near the end of the season. So we'll have sports. We'll have sports all the way around. Yeah, Georgia's got a lot of great players. I'd love to see Jalen Carter's Raider, even though I'm a Jags fan. My father is a diehard Raiders fan, so I may have a little soft spot for him. Hey, well, send him over there, Win Model 88. Willie Wayne, salute times through now third for being on 3 shows. Salute. And again, I salute everybody that's here. I appreciate it. Peggy appreciates it. Heidi appreciates it. I know Angria, when we had a chance to have her on the show, she appreciates it. We appreciate everybody out there. We appreciate everybody out there. Just like Jay says, good debate. Good debate. See everybody. Take care next time. Remember, like, share. Want to test this suspension on my cab? Want to test the suspension? No, I don't want to. Nah. I said, I got a brand new Ram, and I'm happy about that. Finally, after 9.5 months, Felicia came home. I got Felicia in my driveway. Can't wait. So, yeah, I'm very happy about that. Ram 2500, finally in my driveway. Can't wait. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, like, share. Do the comments after the show, please. And we appreciate everybody being here. Take care, everybody.